The Bible does not mention Lent, so why do we observe it? When we dig into church history, we discover that Lent seems to have grown out of a desire to better prepare for Passover or Easter. The death and resurrection of Christ was such a central piece in the Christian calendar that some felt it warranted a degree of preparation. Tertullian, the church father, wrote around 200 AD, "The Passover affords a more than usually solemn day for baptism, when, withal, the Lord's Passion, in which we are baptized, was completed." On Baptism, chapter 19. So there was a practice of connecting water baptism with the death and resurrection of Christ, which led, in turn, to the practice of baptisms being conducted on Easter. The preparation for this Easter baptism involved, in the words of Tertullian, repeated prayers, fasts, and bendings of the knee, and vigils all night through, and with the confession of all bygone sins. On Baptism, chapter 20. The actual length of the fast was not fixed at that point. Irenaeus, another church father, mentioned that it was already a tradition to fast in anticipation of Easter, but the duration was not set. For some think that they should fast one day, others two, yet others more. Some, moreover, counted their day as consisting of 40 hours day and night. And this variety in its observance has not originated in our time, but long before in that of our ancestors. It is likely that they did not hold to strict accuracy and thus formed a custom for their posterity according to their own simplicity and peculiar mode. Yet all these lived nonetheless in peace, and we also lived in peace with one another. And the disagreement in regard to the fast confirms the agreement in the faith. 5th Eusebius chapter 24 verses 12 to 13. So the common idea, it seems, was a posturing of the soul as Passion Week approached, marked by a recognition of our brokenness and by penitence of the heart. For early Christians, Lent was not so much about the duration or the specific practices, as much as it was about our attitude towards God. Lent is a good time for us to remember where we have come from, and perhaps how far more we have to go. Gazing upon the cross, we echo the refrain of the song, "There but for the grace of God go I, my friend." We remind ourselves to not take God's grace for granted, a time to humble ourselves and afflict our souls through fasting and acknowledging our need for the cross. But there is more. Beyond the introspection of Lent is the true fast that is outward oriented. In Isaiah 58, the people lamented that their fast has been unseen by God, who countered by describing the kind of fast he sought. "Is this not the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and that you bring to your house the poor who are cast out? When you see the naked, you cover him, and do not hide yourself from your own flesh. Then your light shall break forth like the morning. Your healing shall spring forth speedily, and your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger, and speaking wickedness, if you extend your soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then your light shall dawn in the darkness, and your darkness shall be as the noonday. Lenten observation can be an exercise of introspection, focusing on our unworthiness. From God's point of view, however, true awareness is measured by the way we treat others. The true ash that purifies us comes from the burnt remains of our ego and self-preservation, and not from the palm leaves of yesteryear. True fasting does not virtue signal. It is not a display or demonstration of remorse or regret. Rather, it is a realignment of our priorities and our soul. True fasting turns our inward concerns and passion into outward compassion.